And I'm back with you, a little overdue, but you know how it is sometimes. We had the farm report, and that sort of went a bit over time. And when I'm the one who's going to wear both hats from one program to the other, sometimes I take the leeway, depending on the gist of the conversation, for clarity to make sure that we get a point or points over. I tend to let it play out, let people express themselves, let it be clear as to what is being represented. Okay, let me go straight to the phone lines. Hello, caller.
Quinn,
Yes.
good day. Hold. Give me a second, please, sir, so I can lower this volume here.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, it's me. Greetings once more in Jesus' name, Quinn.
Yeah.
During the call that I made to you in the prior program, I thought about something. As we spoke about what hegemony means,
Yes.
I thought came to mind that oligarchy is basically the same thing, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, basically the same thing. And I'm going to give you an example of fascism in our country where it appears you own something on paper, but in reality, you really don't. It's the government who own it. Your houses,
Yes.
your home.
Yes.
Once you're paying land tax, you don't really own your home, you know? On paper, yes. On paper, but not in practicality, because if you ain't pay that land tax, government can come, take you to court, and the court decide what to do with your house.
Yeah.
So you don't really own your house, but yes, on paper it looks so.
That is why.
No.
That is why I keep saying that things like house and land tax should be. You see, our governments do not think progressive. Our government don't seem to understand our history or don't care about our history. Our history is a history of oppression, the oppression of our masters during colonialism. Every law that was made was done to keep that oppression on us.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
governments, after it changed from your colonialist masters to you, who are of a black persuasion, Nubian persuasion, you need to start finding ways over time to change the laws that were there oppressing you before and your people. The laws of land and house, as you just suggested, was to make sure that here are poor
Yes.
people, a poor set of people, barely able to survive. Next thing you know, you're fortunate enough for your skunt and your scrabble, you own a piece of land. But here's a system that is set so that over time, because you have to survive and you have a child, the child gets sick, you might have to pay some medical bill, you might have to take yourself overseas, you wind up in a
Yes.
big problem, and you say, well, okay, let me avoid paying that tax for a while. It builds up to the
True.
point where next thing you know, they come and they reclaim the land. I am saying a progressive, this is what I want this is why our leaders are just failing us every time. Our leaders thinking progressive, thinking I'm going to change these laws that were keeping my people down and me down. Not because I know I'm in a position where I can get a big salary. I must make sure my people are able to climb up the rungs of the ladder. So I'm going to eliminate certain things that will empower my people. House and land tax, I'm going to eliminate that. You know why? Because now my people can know when I own a piece of land and I own a house, I own it. I don't have to worry about
Right.
tax that will build up over time
Right.
because I'm not depending on the government or anybody else to maintain my land or my house. I have to do that.
Right.
I have to repair
Right.
my roof, I have to do everything, and you're still taxing me on it?
Yes.
Ridiculous. But our
And if you don't pay
leaders,
your tax, and if you don't pay your tax, I
that's
could
it.
take you to court,
Our leaders,
and the
our
court decide what
leaders,
to do with your house.
our leaders are not progressive leaders. They come and they say, "Oh, we're young now. Look at this cabinet we have. Basically, young people. You would think that they would be thinking progressively. They're not thinking progressively. They're not thinking that here's what our leaders in the Caribbean are supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be doing everything to eliminate the laws that were there before to oppress you and your people. That is what you're
I
supposed
fully
to be
agree with you,
doing.
no.
But
I
yet still
fully agree with you.
you find every. I mean, look at this law with weed and that kind of stuff. It's a nonsense law. A person has a right
I agree.
to consume what they want. They're not. Are they breaking in your house? Are they killing anybody? But here you have this oppressive law that was put in place because the one thing that the black people used to use, which was weed, I don't use it myself, but you have a right to use it if you want. It's a God-made
I
plant.
agree.
But
I
they,
agree.
but
I
they,
agree.
but they put laws there that say you can't use it. They incarcerate you, take away your life, mess up your life because they say there's a record and all that kind of stuff. And then
I
here's
agree with you.
and then here's our leaders come in, looking black like us, and continuing the same stupid laws.
I agree with you. I fully agree with you.
You think I feel good when I
But
hear in our court system today, you hear on the radio, and Paul was, no, if you're importing it in us, I have a problem with that. But
I don't.
I have a problem with it because it
And
depends on what
we differ with that.
it depends on what you're importing it for and the quantity again. And because I don't like this thing where you're indoctrinating people into something, okay? I don't want to think that here I am, I smoke weed and I'm going to get it in large quantity and indoctrinate people to do it too. That is a choice they would make on their own. And I feel they should get it wherever they can get it without me providing it in mass numbers, okay? That is my feeling. But having said
Okay.
that, but having said that, I am saying it is ridiculous that in this day and age, a young man who has potential, or a young woman, a young person, any person, and you're messing up their career with something that it is their choice whether to use it or not.
You're correct.
But yet still, here's the thing. Sodomy used to be on the books as wrong, and all of a sudden you're gone and you take sodomy off the book and you say it is right now because
I
what?
don't think it's off the book, Quinn. To be quite honest, I don't think it's off the book, but it is treated as though it is off the book. But I don't think it's off the book. It's still on the book, man.
Okay.
Just like capital punishment is not really off the book,
Okay,
but
okay.
the factor.
But I'm saying,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying you have these double standards. Why? Because the external forces say you have to do this. If you don't do this, you won't get loan. Let me ask you this. You think it is fair for anybody as powerful as they are externally to tell you that if you don't agree with whether something should happen in your country, which is a moral aspect, that they can tell you you don't get loan or they cut you off from this or they're not going to you think it is right? It is wrong. But they do it. This is what hegemony is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Don't-
if you tell somebody to do
don't
something
get
is
me
wrong,
out.
that is wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. Yes.
Don't get, I get rather
So
upset with these kind of
apart
things.
from that, which kind of got you animated,
Yeah.
and I understand. But you see, Quint, you see, and there are a few other points I'll let me quickly, but let me say this. You see, when we party in power, we don't really care. So
That's the truth.
and once we get in a little crumbs, that even make it worse. We turn a blind eye to what we party is doing when they're in power. So
Yeah,
all of that.
Well, I'm not
one.
one who follows that kind of a concept. You could be a
You know, most of us follow that concept.
I wouldn't say us because I'm not going to include myself.
When I say us, may mean me too, but I mean,
But
we
I
are
hear you.
among the people.
I hear you, and I agree. Yeah, but not me.
But to some other point very quickly. Number one, Mr. McMahon used an argument that is a very bad and illogical argument. Okay,
You're gonna miss
not because a word is not found in the Bible means that the concept is not there. The concept is there. It's the same bad argument. For example,
I don't think it's I do not think it's a bad idea. I agree with Mr. McMahon 100%. Don't tell me about concept. Tell me if the word isn't there, then it means you run to your conclusion and you decide this is how it should be used.
No. But you see, once the concept is there, what the word means, then that is then to use the word to describe that concept is correct. It's not wrong. The word doesn't have to
Remember
the
when
meaning of the word is
remember when you say concept again. Concept is about interpretation. It's about how you.
But is the interpretation correct? You see,
Yes.
Just
So
saying
that is
interpretation doesn't mean that it is wrong.
so that is what I am saying. I am saying your interpretation might clash with my interpretation, and
But
you
it's which
and
one is
uh,
consistent.
you see where you keep interjecting words now, and we're gonna keep
Yes, which
broadening
one
it.
because inconsistency is the mark of a failed argument. So yes, we have interpretation, but it's which interpretation is consistent with the data. For example, which interpretation is consistent with the Bible, with what the Bible teaches.
I disagree with you. There are certain things that we know are irrefutable fact. If I state it, I do not have to consistently state it to prove it is right. For instance, here's an example. 1 on 1 is 2. I say 1 on 1 is 2. You say 1 on 1 is 10, right? I say, no, 1 on 1 is 2. You say, no, 1 on 1 is 10. Decide I'm not going to repeat it anymore because I know 1 on 1 is 2. Tomorrow you come on and you say 1 on 1 is 10. And you say that 10 times. The next day you come on and you say 1 on 1 is 10. You're consistently repeating the same thing, but it is not true.
Yeah, you're consistent repeating the same thing doesn't make a thing correct.
So that's what I'm saying. You said consistency.
but
and I am saying you
that
cannot keep interjecting words because I'm going on logic. I'm not going on you interjecting word to broaden the argument.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that is your interpretation consistent with the broader picture? If it is not, then your interpretation is incorrect.
In other words,
because there are such thing as incorrect interpretation. That's what children are taught in school.
In other words, Greg, when you say, is my interpretation consistent with, repeat that part again,
is your interpretation consistent with the bigger picture?
Okay, so stop there because of my memory, I have a lot of things on my mind. So you say, is it consistent with the bigger picture?
The bigger picture, right?
I am saying the bigger picture is still left to someone's interpretation. For instance, in other words, let me put it this way.
I don't agree.
Let me put it this way as an example. Is it consistent with what everyone accepts at this time? That is what you could also mean. Okay? Am I right or am I wrong?
Depends on the context. You are correct. Depends on the context.
Okay.
In this case, the bigger picture is the Bible. What we are talking about, the bigger picture is in the Bible.
So that is what I'm saying, Greg. I am saying you keep broadening the horizon and broadening the argument, and if you keep doing that, we're never going to get anywhere. The point is this. Let's go back to my example. Greg, let me go back to my example. You said, if it is consistent with what is accepted right now. I went beyond that. I said the bigger picture then means, is it consistent with what is accepted right now? Okay? Okay, so let's say that is the argument. It is, Quint, your statement is not consistent with what is acceptable right now. Now, it seems to be acceptable right now that a lot of people should run around and just be promiscuous, with their sex lives because it is a normal thing. We're in a liberated time, liberated society. It is accepted that you do what you want. So a man can go out, he can be with so much, a woman can be. It is accepted. But is it right? Is it morally right or wrong?
Not necessarily, no.
So then you understand?
No, it's right.
So then you understand what I'm saying, Greg?
Yes, but understand what I'm saying as well is that is that if you have an interpretation of the Bible, okay, that is not consistent with other parts of the Bible. Let me put it this way. If you have an interpretation of a scripture or a set of scriptures that is not consistent with the other parts of the Bible, then that interpretation of that scripture or set of scriptures is wrong. Not only that, you have to take in consideration context, you have to take in consideration background, you have to take in consideration the meaning of words, the semantic range, all of that sort of stuff, in order to arrive at correct interpretation of the Bible.
And those things, Greg, are what I mean when I say you keep broadening the spectrum, because with all of those different aspects, people are going to come to different conclusions depending on how.
No, you can't.
You can.
You cannot come to different conclusions and be consistent with that. You can't.
Anyway, you listen what you said. You said it is left to interpretation of certain different things. For instance, let's say.
No, I didn't say left to interpretation. I'm saying that if your interpretation is not consistent with all of what the Bible teaches, then your interpretation is wrong.
Yes,
I
and
didn't
then
say it left
and,
up to it,
and
but it
then
left up to the Bible. It left
and,
up to the Bible.
and then, Greg, because I'm very keen on what I hear. After having said that, you said your interpretation is then up to, and you use at least three other things that you use that would make you come to a conclusion. I can't remember them, but I know you made.
Well, as a context,
Yes.
it's context, the meaning of words,
Okay.
the semantic range of words, the background,
So that is my argument. So if you're going to use context as one, it depends on whose context. Here's the meaning
Bible
of
context. But in this case, the Bible context.
the meaning of words. That is another context. Again, you might say that the meaning of this word is this, and someone else say no, it means that. So I am saying you cannot come to a definitive conclusion because you're going to have different people coming to different.
Okay. So I see that you agree with me with what I said then.
But no, I disagree with you because you can't.
I am interpreting your words the way I feel like. That's how basically you say, so you can't say I'm wrong in interpreting your words.
So then
if I want to say
you're
correct with me, you agree with me then.
So hear that now. See, you fall right down in the rabbit hole because you've strengthened my point now. I've won the argument by your latter statement.
Said is correct then?
All I'm saying is that by your latter statement, you have concluded that my statement is right and yours is wrong. That's what you just did.
So I just interpreted what you said.
Because you blurred the line. Anyway, Greg.
So I just interpreted what you said, that you agree with me.
Greg, you have a tendency to be redundant. I cannot continuously entertain redundancy. I'm going to take a bit of a break and I'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
And I'm right back, and the time is 10:41. Man, I tell you, I should have been into what I wanted to get into in terms of playing these clips, but it means then that I would have to, these clips that I have might have to go into maybe another voice. I might not be able to cram them into this one. Now, for those of you who were listening before and you hear the back and forth with myself and Greg, it is a normal thing. We tend to agitate each other like that and get all heated, but there's no animosity between us. It is all part of having a rapport and a debate, even though I must admit that sometimes it kind of irks me a little bit. I would like to think that I'm mature enough to roll with it. Anyway, I'm back with you, and I'm going to start to play some clips. And let me see if I can pull the first one. Now, this morning I was speaking to this issue in relation to what's happening in our proximity. and I would like us to take it in a historical perspective. And so you're going to be hearing as I play these clips the voices of three individuals, one a journalist and two others historians. And journalists come duality of journalist, historian, that kind of stuff, giving you an idea of how the Caribbean has evolved. And for those of you who are unaware of things like the Grenada invasion and how it links with what is happening presently and that kind of stuff. Okay, so that is what I intend to do, and then during the course of that time, we'll be having a broader picture. I hopefully would hope that at the end of this discussion, you would walk away with a better understanding of what has happened in the region, what is the potential to happen in the region presently, and how it is best for us to move forward in unison as opposed to fragmented. Okay? So let me play the first clip. And the first clip explains how Barbados was used in the U.S. invasion of Grenada. So it's a bit of a historic. It's going to come right back up to now, but hey, give a listen to this.
Mr. Corbin, you think that the word betrayal is a strong word. Why would you agree more with acquiescence in terms of the Caribbean perspective?
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, for that question, and greetings to someone who I've regarded for a long time as being a fountain of effervescent knowledge in Mr. Pereira.
Yes.
And this is the first time that I've had the privilege of being on a live with him.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Respect. Yeah.
I have listened to him on numerous occasions everywhere, but I am privileged for the first time to be meeting him on a live.
Yes.
And I am thankful that there's someone to join us this afternoon that can clear up a lot of the misconceptions that has happened around it. And the reason that I thought that betrayal at that time was the time to do was be a little bit strong, given this political climate, is because we have to remember that acquiescence by Eugenia Charles, Tom Adams, as well as the Prime Minister of Trinidad. It was Trinidad at the time. Anyway, they were caught between a rock and a hard place because the United States hegemony and the funding that came in to their respective administrations was calling the shots with regard to their position. And they were told straight up, if you do this, you will have the next elections and the financial support for your policies and so on and so forth going forward.
Okay, let me interject because I'm gonna put back this one. I'm gonna pull back this one because this is a follow-up to a statement that was made before, and the one before is that one of their colleagues in this panel said that it is a betrayal of the region by Caribbean leaders that happened during the Grenada invasion and is happening again in the Venezuela issue, right? That was the first part of the debate. So I'm going to put it in context and play the first part and then follow up with that part where this individual who you just heard speaking was saying he did not agree with the word betrayal. He felt it was a bit strong, and you would understand why he came to that conclusion. So I'm going to play the first one where the first individual said that he felt it was a betrayal of the Caribbean by certain leaders.
The topic of the program today is Caribbean betrayal, and Mr. Corbin and Mr. Ned were sort of not very comfortable. Well, I shouldn't say comfortable, but not in agreement with that word. You were saying acquiescence, Mr. Corbin would have been a more appropriate word. But what do you think, Mr. Pereira? Do you think betrayal is a very good word to use in light of what happened with Edward Seaga, Eugenia Charles of Dominica, and also Tom Adams in terms of their siding with the United States, aligning with the United States against Grenada?
Absolutely. Forbes Burnham was the president of Guyana, and I was in the People's National Congress, Burnham's party, which had a strong down-the-line policy, anti-imperialist, supported the Cuban Revolution, and we have established relations with many countries. We recognize the PLO and all that. Why I mention this to you is because there's some things about the Grenadian Revolution and so that many people are not aware of. But Eugenia Charles, Tom Adams, and Siago are absolute traitors. I like the term mousy tongue. I love that term. Do you know there was a meeting in Trinidad, and the Manley and the others, they had this meeting, and I think it was Prime Minister Chambers, but they were trying to arrive at an agreement, within the Caribbean for work things out. And while they were inside, Eugenia Charles, Tom Adams, and Siago were having a meeting outside with the United States, going against the CARICOM position, and gave the green light to the United States. President Burnham told Maurice Bishop that they're coming after you. Burnham told him that. And the Americans never forgive Burnham for that. They even threatened to bomb our airport. They always wanted to bomb the airport. They threatened us during Kissinger time. Because Guyana allowed the Cuban planes going to Angola to refuel here.
Yes.
In Georgetown. Because pressure was put on Barbados. And they applied pressure to Burnham, and Burnham never gave in.
Yes.
Yeah. So what Eugenia Charles and Tom Adams and them, and Tom Adams, the thing about Tom Adams is, Burnham said, Tom Adams, who refers to himself as a Democrat and all of that, Tom Adams and all of those guys protected the bombers of the that Air Cubana plane that was blown up in 1976. When you read the documents, if you listen to Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves, when he read it from the documents, you will see that the U.S. intelligence agencies knew everything about the plan to bomb that plane. And they protected their intellectual authors. And Eugenia Charles and those people, the history will never forgive them for what they did.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
And you see some Caribbean leaders doing the same thing today.
Mr. Pereira, I think that I agree with you in terms of the betrayal. I don't know any other way to describe it, because what we're seeing today now with Kamala, on the other hand, is betrayal. It's another betrayal. What we're seeing Kamala Persson-Bissessor doing now is equivalent to what Mr. Siaga and Tom Adams and Eugenia Charles did from Dominica, right, Mr. Pereira?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Remember now that when we look at what Kamala Persson-Bissessor is actually doing now in Trinidad, she's in dialogue with the United States at the back of Nicolas Maduro. They don't know what is happening. Even the people in Trinidad don't know what is happening. They're just seeing military personnel the other day. They understand that several military personnel went into the Red House, right? And the Trinidadians don't know. And she's saying that, no, these people are not here to talk about war. They're here because they're in military partnership with us. What do you think about that, Mr. Pereira?
I mean, that is absolute disregard, contempt, not only for the people of Trinidad, but the people of the region.
Yes.
Some people, the legal aspect, they will say, don't use the word liar. Say that you don't believe her.
Yes.
So I'm going to say, and I'm going to be decent by saying, I do not believe her.
Yes.
I do not believe her. And I know that they're cooperating with the Americans, with the U.S. intelligence services and all of that. That is exactly what they're doing.
And when we think about the betrayal, I read an article, I think from a Guyanese paper too, which suggests, the writer suggested in one of the Guyanese papers I read last week, that it took the CARICOM bloc over a decade to have come back together after that betrayal of Mr. Siaga, Tom Adams, and also Eugenia Charles. Can you explicate more on that the Caribbean was so divided that it took over a decade for them to come back together?
Yes, so I'm going to be playing a few of these clips, because what I want you to understand is that this thing is a deep thing. It's a deep thing, and this is where and why I use the word hegemony this morning when I was having a bit of a chit chat with Greg on another topic other than biblical. It seems as if though when we have other topics that are not biblical, myself and Greg, we can concur quite rather easily. But when it comes to the biblical aspect, we cannot concur, and he gets all up in his feelings, and I get a bit agitated and so forth. But hey, it's all good. So, yes, what I want you to understand is that if you look at then and you look at now, and you understand the real history of what the superpowers tend to do. You heard in that statement where because a leader in the Caribbean of a sovereign country in the Caribbean decide to use his airport to send some aid or assistance to Angola, which is an African part of us because we come from African roots. Here is an individual who is an independent individual of an independent country doing what he feels is right for him to do, and the United States is threatening you and threatening that if they will try to bomb you, and this is what I'm saying. This is what is happening behind the scenes. So when you and I go on our daily work and we are caught up in our YouTube and our TikTok and we don't understand what is happening. We don't understand the geopolitics and the hegemony and other things that are going on and running the globe. So here's that individual's perspective where he's saying he see it as a betrayal, but his colleague doesn't see it as a betrayal, and that's why I stopped the first one. I'm going to play it now, where he's answering as to why he doesn't see it as a betrayal, and this will make you better understand how the U.S. and the superpowers use their position, their hegemonic position, to exploit our naive Caribbean leaders. So listen to this.
Mr. Corbin, you think that the word betrayal is a strong word. Why would you agree more with acquiescence in terms of the Caribbean perspective?
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, for that question, and greetings to the someone who I've regarded for a long time as being a fountain of effervescent knowledge in Mr. Pereira.
Yes.
And this is the first time that I've had the privilege of being on a live with him.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Respect. Yeah.
I have listened to him on numerous occasions everywhere, but I am privileged for the first time to be meeting him on a live.
Yes.
And I am thankful that there's someone to join us this afternoon that can clear up a lot of the misconceptions that has happened around it. And the reason that I thought that betrayal for at that time was the time to do was be a little bit strong given this political climate is because we have to remember that acquiescence by Eugenia Charles, Tom Adams, as well as the Prime Minister of Trinidad. It was Trinidad at the time. Anyway, they were caught between a rock and a hard place because the United States hegemony and the funding that came in to their respective administrations was calling the shots with regard to their position. And they were told straight up, if you do this, you will have the next elections and the financial support for your policies and so on and so forth going forward. Barbados is of particular importance because of Tom Adams's relationship with the Jesuit control mechanism run out of Barbados. Okay? Tom Adams was elected based upon his compliance with the Jesuit order that runs Barbados. And Tom saw no problem with him joining the alliance and making sure that the United States of America was going to be operating on the platform using military force to overthrow what was perceived as a communist threat. There was absolutely no communist threat in Grenada.
Right.
This was a freedom fighter standing for Caribbean rights, standing for Caribbean ideology, and standing for the progressive importance of uniting the Caribbean region from the south going north.
Yes.
Which had previously never been done before. Because we had a fracture. At that time, there was a fracture, as Mr. Pereira has quite eloquently outlined. There was a fracture in the CARICOM, where the North was doing one thing and the South was saying something else. And this leads back to my continual my continual repeating of the CARICOM problem. Okay. Now, I've often said that CARICOM and carry gone a long time. Okay. The most important thing is this: at the end of the day, we had a prime minister in Tom Adams where the domiciled hegemony of the United States military and political power was in Barbados.
Yes.
Okay. Remember, Barbados was calling the shots with regard, because it was Tom acquiesced to using Barbados as the forward operating location and the forward operations base for the military operation into Grenada.
Wow.
Okay. I was 13 years old at the time, and I remember going to the airport after school every afternoon just to watch the military aircraft taking off and landing, helicopters being rearmed and flying out again to carry out airstrikes. Okay, we had the entire complement of the United States military forward operating base operating from Barbados until the Pearls airfield had been secured, and then Point Salines had been neutralized. After that, everything just shifted into Grenada because the bridgehead for that operation was in Barbados. And the Prime Minister of Barbados, Tom Adams, acquiesced to that because of Jesuit pressure that was put upon him because of the connections within the Republican Party. That was the sole reason. And Tom, being the influential person that the United States of America was using as their spokesman for the sponsorship of the narrative of overthrow of Grenada, obviously influenced Dame Eugenia Charles's position as well as the other
as
party.
Edward Seago. Wow.
Edward Seago of Jamaica.
Yes, yes.
Tom Adams, and less than a decade later, Tom lost his life to the very people that he acquiesced to.
How did he lose his life?
Tom Adams was assassinated by poisoning.
In Barbados?
That's correct.
Yeah, it said he was poisoned.
He was poisoned. The same Jesuit cabal that he acquiesced to, he did the bidding for the overthrow of Jamaica, ultimately that sword arrived at his door. And he was poisoned by the same Jesuit cabal that controlled him.
So there you had the second perspective, where he felt that it was more of a coercion as opposed to a betrayal. But I still would lean towards it wound up being a betrayal, though. You know what I'm saying? And also an important aspect is to show you, if you take what happened then with what is happening now, where the one place in close proximity to Venezuela is Trinidad and Tobago, and the U.S. is using the same thing that they did with the Grenada thing, where they want a place where they can launch their offensive from, and it has to do with the Caribbean body or country. And the salient point is this: Caribbean leaders must not only be aware of their history, but they must also be aware of the runnings, the intricacies of geopolitics. If they are unaware of these things, they will be easily coerced into betraying their people. The developed world and the superpower structure does not care about how we live on a daily basis in terms of how we interact as a Caribbean people, how we communicate as a Caribbean people, how we exist on a whole as a Caribbean people. This is of no importance to them. Whenever they feel it convenient for them, what they want, they will come and they will use one or two to fight their initiative. And then you heard where in a prior thing where it took 10 years, right? A decade or maybe even more for the Caribbean to come back to that position where we can exist like how we did before, communicating, camaraderie, and all that kind of stuff before, because there had been a rift created by the coercion of certain Pacific leaders who betrayed their region, and then it took some time for you to mend those wounds. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, Quint, it's me again. I like the quick the clip that you played. Something in it that caught my attention very much. The second man who spoke of Barbados being under the control of the Jesuit order.
Yeah, well, boy, Greg, I'm not sure, but I think we're on the same vein in terms of what is happening here right now. So go ahead.
Yes, he spoke about Barbados being under the control of the Jesuit order and the Prime Minister being pressured and made to do some things because of the Jesuit order.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know if a lot of people know what the Jesuit order is. The Jesuit order is one of those orders. You also have the Augustinian order and other orders as well. The Benedict order might be another one. I think so, but I could be wrong on that one. These are orders, a set of people within the Roman Catholic Church. So when he said the Jesuit order had this and that being done in Barbados, and Barbados being ruled by the Jesuit order, it's the same thing to say Barbados was ruled by the Roman Catholic Church, and it is the Roman Catholic Church who had the Prime Minister of Barbados to do this and to do that. So in other words, the Roman Catholic Church role in Barbados was one of ruling Barbados and governing the Prime Minister. You know, he didn't use the word Roman Catholic, he used the word Jesuit.
Yes, yes.
But still the same thing.
Yes.
Still the same thing.
And
Yeah.
wait, and you notice what he said after this leader had acquiesced and they got what they wanted. You see what his demise was in the end.
Mm-hmm. What, poison? That was wrong,
Yeah.
poison?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But didn't he say the Jesuit order poison him? I think I heard that.
Yes, that is what he said. The same
Which is the
order.
same thing as saying the Roman Catholic Church poisoned him.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out that. And then, Queen, lastly, I like to say, there are such things as right and wrong interpretations of anything, including the Bible. But anyhow, Queen, take care. All the best.
Okay. So yeah. So why that was important to me again is the religious aspect and how we tend to look at religion as just our faith and just being, our link with God and so forth. But the religious factions take it much deeper than that. And they take it into aspects of politics and geopolitics and all that kind of stuff that our leaders are naive to and can find themselves in compromising positions. Hello, caller?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
This brings back some painful memories for me, because I was in Barbados I was in Barbados for some seminal events.
Yes.
Not just the Grenada invasion. It was also there when they had the Cubana disaster. When and actually I think it was Venezuelans who were charged for it, but had some kind of asylum in the United States or something like that. When they bombed the Cubana plane just off of Barbados.
Yes.
Okay. I remember that. I also remember United States had a base in Barbados before,
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was always it had started to become controversial, because although we look at Barbados as conservative, they generally have a very principled foreign policy, okay? And so there was debate as to whether or not they should continue that base. They eventually closed it, of course.
Yeah.
But I remember Tom Adams being the point man for speaking out against Maurice Bishop
Yes.
and the Grenada Revolution. He was very articulate, very, very polished and so on. And I remember him screaming after Bishop. Bishop got to remember that he's going to go down the same road as Gary if you don't have elections, because that was the initial call for them to have elections, right? And so he was very, you could see he was very elated, very glad when the United States finally invaded Grenada. But I don't recall this poisoning thing, right? He died suddenly, yes, but I don't recall there was any talk of him being poisoned. But I could be wrong, but I really don't remember.
If you listen to both of the, you notice the one who made the statement about the poisoning, and then the other one validated his statement by saying yes. So it could be that within our proximity, because of the lack of information by different various news medias, that was kind of a hush down. But in their proximity, they were aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when listening to this is a case of deja vu.
Yeah.
If you don't remember your history,
That's
you're
it.
going to be condemned to repeat it.
That is it.
Right? And it's pretty much the same thing. You have, I would call it a betrayal.
Yes,
right?
I too.
Yeah, to me that's what it is. Looking totally at just self-interest, and not be concerned with the effects on the region as a whole. I mean, there's nothing else you can call it but a betrayal, right? She uses, the Prime Minister of Trinidad uses this Trinidad first.
Yes, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
But here is it, Mr. Mahan. Aren't our leaders aware that there is an intention for fragmentation, because once there's that fragmentation, the external forces can execute their agenda, but if we unite as a body, then they have a bit of a problem convincing the rest of the world that it was sanctioned. Our leaders, isn't she aware of that? Isn't she a
you would
part?
think so. You would think so. But that is what we can't understand, why these leaders seem to all make the same mistakes. Why? I don't understand it. I mean, I agree that singly, individually, we can't stand up to pressure from the United States.
Yeah, we're aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're aware of that. But collectively we can.
That's it.
Collectively we can. And we're not even, and what irks me is that we're not even trying. It doesn't seem like we're trying, We're just rolling over and taking it.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate thing about it.
And this is one of the reasons why I tend to play these clips and have the discussions that I have, because I want the younger population, the young generation who is coming up, to realize that what you know about your past will help to influence how you will chart a course for the future.
Well, I mean, there's another aspect to that. I remember when, because I think some soldiers went from here as well.
Yes.
Right. And I remember them coming. There were two who came back and had a presentation at the college describing what the experience was like. And when I heard the descriptions that he gave, it's no wonder that up to this day, Canadians are still traumatized by the whole experience.
Yeah.
Right? Because one of the things he outlined was that they basically go to suspected soldiers' homes and say, and tell the people, come out or we shoot, right? Or give up the particular soldier at his home, or we shoot.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, when you could you imagine civilians faced with those kinds of things, decisions to make.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think people realize how.
And I'm glad you made that.
Traumatic war could be.
I'm glad you made that point too, because it ties into what we see trying to play out, and perhaps I don't know, because I'm not too enthused by the Democrats either. I think they're one of the reasons why we have to be going through this Trumpism. But here's the thing that it shows. You realize that Trump wants to send soldiers in among the civilians presently, right? And by what you just expressed, you understand the traumatic impact that would have when you put soldiers in there among civilians, because people don't seem to understand that soldiers are different kettle of fish,
Different breeds. They're trained to kill. They're not only trained to kill. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was suggesting to an ex-Marine that they have some weird tactics. One of the reasons they don't like interventions by the American military is that they have some tactics that are questionable.
Yes.
And he said, well, in war, they train us that we are supposed to survive, and the enemy is supposed to be killed.
Yeah.
And that's their bottom line.
That's it.
Okay, that's the main rules of engagement. You try to survive. You and your fellow soldiers try to survive.
So
there will be collateral damage in terms of civilians and so on. But that's what war is.
That's it. So juxtapose that then to, instead of even the ICE who are reacting in this kind, you just imagine if it was soldiers in there who almost any reaction you make against them, they perceive as a threat against their lives,
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to deal with it as such. So why would Trump want...
they're armed to the teeth, too.
So why would Trump want to unleash that on his citizenry? That is a big...
But that's the thing. He's not close to the action, so to speak. If it was those days when the leaders, when the kings used to going to battle with the soldiers, they'd understand.
Yeah.
Right? But they're
That's
far
a good
removed
point.
from the fighting. They know they have overwhelming force. Okay? There's no way a country like Venezuela can stand up to the United States. Right? And they're prepared to use it. Okay? There was another time when I was in Barbados that, you know what they did? They had an aircraft carrier. And I went down to see it, like so many other Barbadians. They had an aircraft carrier. I mean, it was so big it couldn't dock at the port down there. But it was offshore, a mile or so offshore. And they had an air show with aircraft, with fighter aircraft from the destroyer. I mean, it was really impressive. To be quite honest, it was impressive.
And recently,
But you have to. But at the same time, you have to realize what that was for.
Yeah.
It was intimidation.
Yeah. And recently they sent an aircraft carrier into our region also.
Yeah, it's one's down there too.
Yeah.
So, that's what I said. I mean, with assets like those, you don't send assets like those just to deploy them. I'm sure it's millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't send assets like those to a region if you don't plan to use them.
But here's something though where I kind of disagree with what you're saying. I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. In terms of military might, we are well aware that Venezuela cannot come up against the U.S. That is a given. But you see, let's look back at Vietnam. And let's look at the terrain of Venezuela. And one of these leaders, one of these people who are speaking, they are going to address that, right? It is not going to be easy if you're going to go into, unless you decide to bomb indiscriminately. If you decide you're going to go into Venezuela on foot, that it is then going to be
the terrain favors guerrilla warfare.
Yes, and it is then going to be the price you're going to pay, that your citizens back home going to be thinking about their sons and daughters who are losing their lives. You understand what I'm saying?
But they're not going to do that.
Okay.
They're not going to do that,
Okay.
They would probably just bomb selected targets to essentially put I just can't remember her name. The opposition leader. Maria something.
Yeah. Oh boy, the more you hear about this woman, is the worse it gets.
But
wow.
They're gonna just put her in power. They don't mind the civil war, Let them fight it out, But they're not gonna get involved to the extent that Americans are gonna start dying. No. They want a nice antiseptic war, nice clinical thing,
but
surgical thing.
But here's this though.
With low casualties.
I agree.
And so on,
I agree with that. But here's this: they seem not to be aware that the world is evolving differently. And yes, you may come out with a smirk on your face, but the way the world is looking at these superpowers, and in particular the United States of America, you think the Caribbean is learning a lesson here. A lot of things that we took for granted.
You said they're learning a lesson, but Quinn, that lesson should have been learned a long time ago.
I agree. I concur wholeheartedly. But for what I don't know why it takes so long and it has to come to this point before our leaders would realize that we need to bond. But I must say, even though they have not come out officially in mass and say, I must say I'm enlightened by the fact that so far the Trinidad and Tobago leader seems to be on her own.
Yeah, because I saw something last night that the deadline for Grenada acquiescing to the U.S. demands has passed. They haven't said that they won't have the base there, the radar, the facilities there, but what they said was that they're not going to do anything that is not
in their interest,
not consistent with the interest of Grenada,
yes,
and importantly, and international law.
And hear this: you often hear me speaking about diplomatic, and I feel that is a diplomatic move, right? Because it then you're supposed to be a sovereign country. It then means that you're going to force the U.S. to use their hand and just use brute force.
Brute force against who?
Why is there a deadline that Grenada do? What are the consequences? That is what I'm saying. Whatever the consequences are,
it won't be force. I don't think it would be force, but it would be the kind of what do you call it? The soft touch of making it difficult to get visas.
Yeah,
Or,
so
those kinds of things.
so when I said force, I didn't mean force in terms of military. I mean,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Right.
I mean just what you're saying. They're gonna now,
Yeah.
but see, Grenada now. I must applaud them on this move because they're as one of the second individual who said he didn't want to use a strong word as betrayal. He said, and I would use this in terms of Grenada, that they're caught between a rock and a hard place. You see, we have to be realistic in a world. We're small countries.
Small and
we
right under the belly, so to
that's
speak.
it. Yeah. So
Yeah, but the response to that should have been staying together, not
I agree.
this separate.
I agree.
Separateness.
Yeah.
This is the separateness that I find hard to understand.
Yes, I
so
too.
many of the leaders know, right? Either went to the University of the West Indies, or they have been they should know, or they grew up around the time when there was a sense of consciousness,
Yeah.
right? And one of the things I keep asking now, who exactly are the ones that the young people look up to? I remember when we were growing up,
Yeah, that's a good
it
question.
used to be Mali and Che Guevara and Castro and those revolutionary Machel in thing.
Yeah.
Those
And
were the revolutionaries.
one of those that I looked up to, which might surprise you, was Peter Tosh.
Peter Tosh,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, Peter Tosh. But there were a whole lot of others.
Yeah, there were.
Burning Spear.
Yeah.
Who is the artist that sang? Are we building a country, or are we building a hut? You remember?
Are we building a country or are we building a hut?
There's a reggae artist. Anyway, the point is, we had
It's in the back of my head, but I can't bring it.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to remember the other day too. You didn't. I'm not sure if it was Burning Spear. I'm not sure who it was.
No, it
we
wasn't
had
Burning Spear. It wasn't Burning Spear. Go ahead, though. It might come.
Yeah, but we had these people who basically shaped our thinking. We had the struggling against apartheid, in South Africa, the freedom fighters in the other areas of Africa, and that gave us a kind of consciousness that I don't think young people these days have. I don't know who they look up to now, but I don't think it's any revolutionary anybody.
But I'll tell you something too, to strengthen what you're saying. When we were growing up, right, there was a variety of music that we listened to, but a lot of the music that we listened to, apart from just the dance music and so forth, was kind of a militant and
militant.
Yeah, it was like against the system, against oppression, human rights and black,
There was a
struggle
Black
and
Power movement
yes,
in
yeah.
Africa. I mean, in the States.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And-
but there
and-
isn't
and
that
right now, it seems to be just about sex. Mainly, all the songs are about sex and, so. But I won't say, I won't.
There's no depth. There's no depth.
Yeah.
So that's why you got to wonder. But I don't think that it's quite. I mean, the generation of leaders, right? I thought there should have been more camaraderie among them,
Yeah.
based on the fact that they all went to
The University.
same
of the West
institutions,
Indies,
University of the West Indies and so on. I remember Ralph Gonzalez down there. I mean, he was a hardcore Marxist-Leninist when he
Okay.
was lecturing down there. And now he's mellowed, grown, has his big tummy,
Yeah.
and I guess just
well,
just go with the flow now.
It happens with age because I've mellowed a lot, even though some people might hear me and say, boy, Quint is explosive. I've mellowed, man. I've mellowed.
Radical, yeah. I don't know, but you wonder where is it gonna go?
Yeah.
Because I don't think we'll ever be accepted as an equal or a real partner
Yeah.
by the United States. I think we'll probably always be looked on as these pesky little islands down there better behave themselves otherwise. You know, we still regarded as insignificant.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, maybe that's our lot, right?
Well,
but
I
still, there should be some kind of pride, some kind of at least, patriotism. After all, we're supposedly independent. We should be smart enough to maneuver between the weeds and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
at least have our heads held high still.
Yeah.
No, not just roll over and take it.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. So I'm due a commercial break now, so
Yeah.
I'm going
All
to
right.
take that. Thanks for your input as usual, as always. Yeah. So I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and when I come back, we'll get right into clips.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
And let me get back here. For whatever reason, Simeon has decided to just freeze up. So time moves on, and we don't have time to just wait. Sometimes technology works for you, and at other times, as good as it is, it works against you. So let me get back to my clips, and again, a reminder, I play these so that we can correlate then and now, especially for the younger ones who are just becoming conscious enough to decide that, okay, I want to know what is happening in the world and how it will affect me and my offsprings in the long run. Okay? So let me see if I can get this to play now.
Found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Rams the good food people, always there to serve you. Rams the good food people, locations right near you. Rams the good food people, in-store specials for you. Rams the good food people. Rams. When you need better service, Rams is always here. Better value, better prices. Rams is always here. Rewarding your loyalty. Rams is always here. We are community. We are family. We are family. Rams for you and me. We are community. Rams for you and me.
And we're back. The time 31 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour. And for those of you, especially the younger ones who are students of history, this shows the importance of knowing what happened then, so you can correlate and you can see if there are similarities between then and now. And quite often there are, because the old saying holds true: if you refuse to remember your past, you're bound most likely to relive it. Okay, so I'm going to continue, and this one now is entitled How the Western, giving you an insight as to how the Western hegemony uh, works, controls, monopolizes, and influences what happens around the globe, but more precisely in our proximity.
Mr. Corbin, I would like to ask you, who gives money to whom? Who supports whom? Does Israel support the United States or the United States support Israel?
The taxpayer supplies the money from the Israel lobby, the APAC. The APAC is like a, how shall I put it? Well, if you've ever been to India, I'm not sure if you've ever been to India. In my experience in going to the Indian city of Goa on the west coast of India, you have storekeepers who have runners, what they call runners, and they go out and they take orders from around the city and so on, and they come back and they gather the goods and then they go and deliver them. Okay, this was a British colonial imperial construct, by the way, because transportation was a problem in India before the British brought in railways and so on in the 1800s. At the end of the day, that is exactly what APAC does. APAC works on behalf of the Israel lobby, and they have APAC is like the runners. They go out and they secure funding and so on from everywhere. They nickel and dime every single business. Most of the operations with regard to large businesses, particularly the military industrial complex, are based upon the funding that has come through prostitution, drug running, and a host of other small businesses that are all contributing. And they pay every single member of Congress.
One of the things we have to really look at, though, is history. History has to be our lesson here. And
Absolutely.
if APAC controls now the United States, it had to have controlled Britain, because Britain passed on its empire to the United States. Perhaps APAC then, the Jews controlled.
Let's look at the evidence. Let us look at the evidence, okay? In 2023, in November of 2023, exactly 2 years ago, the UK signed an in-depth cooperative agreement with Israel for every facet of its operations, including MI6. And you can see that document online, okay? That document is online. I'll send you the link to it.
Yes.
At the end of the day, the most important thing is that Israel and the UK, APAC in the United States of America, are all one cooperative, developing global geopolitical entity that are controlling the Western hegemony into every single facet of the Western Hemisphere, including making sure that the war in Ukraine is continued, making sure that Europe is destroyed, and making sure that the South is protected. And that is precisely why the United States military is in Venezuela.
Yeah, so you might have been wondering, where did it jump to there, to the Israelis? Well, you see how it ended. That is why you find the United States in our proximity threatening Venezuela. As I play more clips, this would unfold and you would better understand. But let me go to the phone lines. Hello? Okay, lost that. Caller, if you want to interact with me, do so as quickly as possible, because when I start to play a clip, I'm not going to stop to entertain you. Hello, caller? Hello, caller?
Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you today?
I'm fine. I want you to be as brief as possible because I have some clips, but I'm okay, and it's good to hear from you because, you know, you're always perusing my mind.
I dozed because I was calling this morning, but nobody was answering the phone.
Okay.
Well, people came on, you was at the phone, was busy, you know?
My apologies for that.
All right. I just wanted to clear up something about the IMF. I hear people saying we're going to the IMF and they were here. The IMF comes either quarterly or half a year or once a year. They being here does not mean we have a program.
Yes.
They come to collect what you call quarterly statistics.
Yes.
Because unlike countries like Jamaica and maybe Trinidad, who have a developed
Okay.
statistics office, they carry out quarterly surveys.
So let me ask you this then. Are you aware of whether we've gone back to either the IMF or the World Bank?
Am I aware what?
Are you aware if there's this talk going around that we've gone back to the IMF or the World
People
Bank,
don't
one
know.
or the
People
other?
don't understand.
I'm
You see them
asking
in-
you, are you aware of that?
No, but I am telling you,
Hmm.
people see them here and think they come to do that.
Yes.
They come to collect statistics. Sometimes we don't have it, or they come to discuss what they see.
Hmm.
Now, I remember in the early 90s, maybe 80s, 90s, they used to come once per year because the economy was doing good. You understand?
Yes.
The frequency of their visit is an indication that there are problems either being active or looming.
Okay.
Get that?
Yes. But let me ask you this then. If it is that this talk is going around that we've gone back to either the IMF or the World Bank, and it is not true, do you feel that it is wrong for our leaders to at least come and say, well, no, this thing...
We are making an assumption that it is so.
No, I am saying, yes, I hear you, but I'm asking you if there's that assumption going around.
You would know.
And
The
it is
central
not...
bank will let you know.
The central
Every
bank
time
will
they
let you
come,
know.
The central bank would know.
Okay, and how do we know when the central bank know that we will...
You know when the government indicate that there's a program, and I'll tell you an indicator. Now you look at what is called the balance of payments. You know the balance of payments account?
I've
It
heard
has
of
to do
it.
with the account of our country with foreign countries.
Yes.
Now, if we have a situation where our balance of payments is in deficit, put it call it deficit,
Yes.
that we are unable to pay our debt, that's one indicator. And two, the amount of money we have is unable to purchase the foreign goods, put it
Yes.
that way.
Yes.
Now, if you go back to when we had this thing, now they expect you to have at least 6 months or maybe a year amount of money to pay for the goods you import and for the loan payment.
Yes.
Now, when we go out on the foreign market to borrow, international market, the lenders want some assurance that there is a possibility of getting back the money. They therefore require that the IMF come in and do the assessment, and they are the ones who would indicate to the lending party that it is safe to do so. You get it?
Yes. I'm aware of most of what you're saying,
what
but,
I mean, eh?
but I'm
But
aware...
maybe other people want to be aware of it.
Yeah, well, you're right. But here's this. My concern is still this. I hear what you're saying, and I
Those are the facts.
but hear this. I am saying, because I don't know everything, right? And for instance, in this vein, you are way ahead of me. I'm a little baby when it comes to these aspects and levels of finances and how the world runs in relation to you. And that is why I thank the...
All right, look at it this week.
Wait. And that is
Go ahead.
why I thank the Almighty that you still exist. Go ahead now. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Now, we're going to have the budget presentation in December, next month.
Yes.
If you listen to the items and the policies, because the IMF influence policy.
Yes.
If you can't pay your debt, you got to sell your land. You know that kind of thing?
Yes.
You have to increase taxes. You have to cut your wage bill. The large items in the accounts, they will make suggestion to you. Now, they don't just come one time and tell you so. If they come, say they come February, March, they look at all of the variables, the debt, the employment, like you said, the employment has the pay for workers have increased. They will say you'll have to cut that. Now, one possibility is what Dr. Douglas did. He laid off a lot of the retirees, people who are working, who are near the pension age. You cut it there. That is what might happen. And you have, we don't pay a lot of tax. They might bring back in one. So that they go through policy issues.
But Sylvine, I do not want you to go. Here's what I would want. I would want on another Wait, listen. I would want on another program because you are well informed on this. I would want.
Yeah,
Miss Sylvine, please listen to what I'm saying. I am saying, I would like on a different program where I can get you to interact and we can go in more detail on this. But what I want today from you is, if, for instance, let's say this is a rumor going around that our government has approached the IMF, I am asking you, do you feel that our leaders it is of no moment whether they come and they say yeah or nay? That is what I'm asking you. They can just...
I hear your question. I understand your question.
Yes.
But I am saying again, they're not just going to come and say we're going to IMF. They'll begin to discuss, because I was listening to hear they're having all kind of a town hall about the budget.
Yes.
They have not said what they're cutting, you know.
Yes.
Or what they're imposing.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things you must be looking for.
I hear you on that, but this is what has me puzzled because I'm
expecting to tell you?
But I don't. I said as much on a prior program. I said I don't expect because they know what the fallout will be. But then it left us in a quandary, Miss Henry.
All right, let me give an example. You see how they're talking the $5,000 bonds, right?
Yes.
That they're offering for $500. Because when they had the last thing, people lost 50%. A bond is a loan to the government.
Yes.
Then the government $1,000. And they say, well, I can't pay you, give 500. These are indications that they have in balance of payment problems.
Yes.
So they give, if you know the signs, you could tell.
Yes.
They will not tell you until in the budget you all kind of excuse.
Okay.
Well, we got to cut this and that.
Okay.
They may, if the cuts are important and they can be carried out surgically.
Yes.
They may not be going back.
Okay. I hear you on that, and now I better understand. So
I don't know if they will just up and tell you.
So what you
create panic.
I agree. But I just want to be enlightened because I don't know everything. And in this vein, you're way ahead of me. And I now have a better understanding because what you're suggesting is let's wait and listen to how the budget unfolds and we'll have a better idea. Yes. Okay. I get you on that. This is why I need you to be there.
I work with it. I went to the I studied it. I studied it for years.
Yes.
And as I said, the government may be talking to them.
Yes.
Now, all this borrowing from the IMF. As a member, remember they pay subscription fees, you know.
Yes.
If you don't know that. The IMF can make loans to you from what you put in. They offer what they call concessionary loans.
Yes.
I remember 1 year they came to my office because they usually come there for us. Oh, we're going to give the government a $200 million. I said, for what? I think the man was upset. I said, you don't think we have enough debt already? Just so I said, you don't think we have enough debt already? But the leader said, well, we want this concessionary thing to fill the gap. But by filling the gap, you're widening it.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes, you know, the minister of government, they may not have a background in finance or economics.
Yeah.
So it's so good when they say, well, we could get that day, you know. So sometimes we expect too much of them because all these political parties, let me tell you all something. You must train your people to go in the unaware what's going on. Anybody could put anything on them.
That is what I always keep saying.
So they can't tell you what they earn, what they don't understand.
You're right.
Get it?
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't think they're gone back to. They are a member of the IMF. They pay what they're supposed to pay
Yes.
based on national accounts,
Yeah.
they have certain rights. They're called joint rights.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, I will lean towards your advice, and that makes
the
me.
government can't tell you. They can't tell you that right now.
Yeah, I assumed as much, but I was still curious. But this means now, as I'm well aware that I am going to take certain. I usually do that, but the individual who I heard make that statement, I think it was Monday. I did ask him. I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah." So now I'm going to take that individual's sayings with a grain of salt because I do not intend to make the same mistakes twice. So thank for your advice.
No, you know Peter Adrian, right?
Yes, I hear him on
He did an
Freedom.
analysis last Monday, not this one,
Yes,
on the accounts. And he was talking about the growing deficit.
yes.
Now, that is a concern.
It is a concern.
If you're now having $300 and something million worth of deficit, the deficit is the difference between what you collect and what you spend.
Yeah,
And if your income has dropped drastically, these are signs.
yeah,
But it's not a conclusion. They could take what is called surgical thing on the accounts.
yes,
Well, we stop game PAP and we stop, you know what I mean?
yes.
There are things I can do, but depending on how close you are to election, they're not going to come and tell you that.
I hear, and I felt as
The
much.
thing about going to the IMF, they are a member of the IMF, they don't have to go to it.
Yeah.
All right then.
Okay
I
then.
hope I clear up something.
Yeah, you did. You did. I'm much the wiser for your input. Thank you.
All right then.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. This is why we must always respect our elders and stop feeling so, oh, well, she always talking and she thinks she knows everything. Well, if you know something and you listen to her, you will know whether what she's saying makes sense or not. And depending on what you know, you would know what you should listen to. Okay? Hello, caller?
Yes, Quint?
Yes.
Yes, excuse me. I'm going to try to be quick because you want to play your clip.
Well, I don't know. I might be able to force in one, but this is gonna have to carry into another program. Go ahead.
Yes. No, the question, the song that Mr. McMahon wanted to know about, okay, is a song sung by Ernest Smith.
Yes.
The name of the song, With the
yes,
People.
yes. That man with the big booming voice. Yes,
Mhm.
man, I must commend you, man. You know what I'm saying? I kept it in the back of like it's in the corner of my head, and are we building a pit? And yeah, you're right. Absolutely
It seems
right.
as though the very little that I'm able to gather about him, it seems as though he was a revolutionary.
You know, it's a song,
political
and it's
singer.
one of my favorite songs because it's more like it's like we the people something so and and yeah, it's like he's having a speech but in a sort of a song format, and it's talking about and as we fight one another, and yeah, man, I must get that song. Yeah, I have it as a matter of fact, and but I wouldn't.
With the people. Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to bring it without your enlightenment. So thanks, and you surprise
Right.
me. You surprise me occasionally. Yeah. Thanks for that.
And lastly, let me say quickly, the government should let us know if they borrow money from the IMF, how much they borrowed, and that's all, because Socrates said, but he wasn't too sure whether the IMF or the World Bank, but he said this thing happened about 3 months ago.
Well, I'm gonna desist as of right now. I'm gonna desist from saying that we approach the IMF or the World Bank because I don't have any facts on it, and I do not like to say what I'm not. I kind of took his word for it, but I'm going to be very cautious.
He said he heard it in the news.
Yeah, well, still, I don't have anything to back me up on it, so I'm not going to push it until I know it as a fact. That is how I move. I took his word, and I tried to get someone to corroborate or, verify it. I've not been able to do so far, and I'm going to take the advice of Sylvine and wait, see how the budget plays out, and see, because she makes sense. Even though you and I may feel they should come and tell us, they're not gonna do that because they know what the fallout is gonna be, and as she says, it could bring up a sense of panic. So, yeah, I'm gonna lean towards the advice I just got from Miss Sylvine Henry. Okay.
Yeah, so all this talk about transparency is just pure nonsense then.
Well, it would seem so.
Okay, Quinn, take care. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, so Ernest Smith, yes, ma'am. Take
Yes,
care.
Ernie Smith, you're definitely right. Okay, so where am I? Let me see. What was the last one I played there? How the Western, let me see here. How the Western controlled geographical hegemony. Yeah, well, I'm going to delete this one so that I know in another program when I continue, I know where to start. Let me go to the phone line. Say, hello, caller.
Yes, good day. Let me say something very quickly.
Yeah.
In terms of this expression going to the IMF,
Yes.
I don't agree so much with the expression that because we're part of the IMF means that we don't have to go to the IMF. I think when the expression going to the IMF is used, I think it has to do in context
With
of
whether,
money borrowing.
yes, I agree.
Yes,
I
money
agree.
borrowing.
Yes.
So I don't think the IMF will approach
Yeah, I agree.
any
I
country.
I thought as
Right.
much. I thought as much, but I think what she was saying is that because we are a part and we pay certain fees to be a part of it, what she was saying is because we're already a part of the corporation, we don't have to go to them. But not
No,
being
we
specific
go.
with, yeah, I agree. But what I'm saying is her perspective was different for one where we're coming from, right? Where we're coming from, and I agree with you 100%, is that if even though we are part of their body, if we want a loan, we will have to approach them.
Because they don't approach anybody. You have to go to them
Yeah.
to get that money.
Yes.
And you know, something that bothers me, they say that we are part of the IMF and we have to pay. We have to pay dues to be a part of the IMF. But when we are in need, we still have to go back to take a loan
But you
at
see,
this humongous
but you see, caller,
interest rate with all of these deep austerity measures.
but you see, caller, that is where the word, why I use the word hegemony with Greg this morning, and why I continue to use it. That is hegemony. That is what it means. It means where you're exploited from every aspect of the whole thing. It's just because they're in a position of authority, they exploit you to a ridiculous extent, unfounded, should not happen, but it happens because you're intimidated by their power.
Now that you say that, they, well, it all depends on people's perspective, right? But they're not powerful as we think they are, you know.
Well,
I mean,
again,
they hide behind their military, but you know why they are running ramshot up over a lot of people, especially the black race? It's because we don't know our authority. We don't know whose we are, and we don't know the power that is innately ours.
I agree
That's
with
why.
you. I agree
so
with
all of what they do,
caller.
they instill fear in us because we are a people who are lost and we more hold on to what they put out there. We mostly,
Caller.
what should I say? Yes.
Caller, I agree with you. But here's the problem. I agree with you again wholeheartedly. But there's a part that you left out. The part that you left out, why this thing works, why hegemony works, is that because we are not unified.
That is the whole reason. That's
it.
why I said what I said.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are a people who are lost. We don't know who we are. When we know who we are, then the unity will come.
Yes.
It will come. Right now here, like I said, we are a people who follow everything that comes in. They said to do this and they said to do that because we don't know who we are. And we are a very spiritually disobedient people. We are a very stiff-necked people. If you go and you say certain things to your people, they'll take you and make you an enemy. I know what I'm saying, because I was once there before my enlightenment. I was there. So I can't really bash my people too much because I understand the way they're coming from. But now where I am, looking now at seeing this thing manifesting itself in our people and understanding, it's really, really, really disheartening, eh?
Yeah.
It's really disheartening. And I could only understand those who were talking to me prior, and I just couldn't see. I could only understand how they felt towards me at the time. But all we have to do is just stick to it, be with our people, ask the Creator to really open the minds and the spiritual eyes of our people.
But you see that
Because we
part.
are perishing because of a lack of knowledge, because we reject it, the rejection of it, we reject the knowledge.
You see that
Yeah.
statement that you made about us being spiritually blind?
Mm-hmm.
That is so deep because people feel that when I get on the radio and I say I don't adhere to the church and what religion is doing, they think that I'm not a spiritual person. But yet still,
No. That's where they're going wrong. I was in the church too.
that's what I'm saying.
I
But
was in the church,
but
and when I got my enlightenment, it didn't come from man; it come from the Almighty because I cried out.
yes, but here,
And when I had to leave religion,
yeah,
I had to remove myself from under religion.
but
And I'm
here,
telling you, this is the best that I have felt in years, mentally, spiritually, everything. It has nothing to do with you're far from the Creator.
but here's what
And when
I'm.
you're under religion, you cannot be near to the Creator. You can't serve, as the Bible says, two masters at the same time.
That's it.
You
So
see? You
so
either have to, you either gonna reject the Creator and hold on to Satan or what they call Mama,
so that
or
is what.
reject the Mamas, and
So that is why it is important that we as a people be more spiritual as opposed to being more religious.
Yeah. But even that same Bible tells them where two or three are gathered in His name. It didn't say gather where, It didn't say gathered in a synagogue or gathered in a building that they call a church. Gathered. He said where two or three are gathered in His name. So that gathering can be anywhere. There He is in the midst. So, once we remove ourselves from under religion, we have a lot of clarity to understand that book, the Bible, that we read. Because under religion, I'm telling you, a lot of us, we don't understand what we read. But once we are removed from under religion, the Lord gives us understanding. Our mind is clear and we can understand a lot of other things because He is the one who brings the interpretation. So I don't worry right now here about people and this church and church and church. Matthew, I'm not saying that I will not go back within the four walls. I'm not saying that I would not go back in there. I'm not saying that I finished all things, but the whole ritualistic thing that they have and being a member and then you don't have any life and they want to treat you like you're a child and whatever. If you have a headache, you must come to church still, but when they have a headache, they stay home and they rest. All of these things, no. This cannot be of the Creator. This is of flesh and blood, and I'm not part of that no more. Anyways, have a blessed day, okay? Hello? I don't hear you no more.
Sorry, caller. I had to go on and respond to the door.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I was
That
here.
was it.
I was
Have a-
hearing you because I put you on the microphone, but I had to run off. Sometimes I have to do that, but I'm hearing you.
I was wondering if I dropped out.
So my apologies for that. Okay.
That's okay. That's okay. I
Yes.
thought I dropped out.
No.
Well, anyway, have a blessed day.
Same to you. You take care.
All right. Okay.
Okay, and now we're gonna end it for today on that note because let me see if I can pull these up here so that I know where I am the next time I come. I have to put things in order so that I know where I am the next time I come. Okay, let me see here. Yes. So that is how I'm going to end things for today. I hope that when I get here, my aim is to open up your consciousness. I, as an individual, have been on my own sojourn, and I've come this far by forces that I sometimes don't even understand, because sometimes within my humility, I ask myself, why is it that I'm still here, or why is it that I've been afforded the opportunity to be able to disseminate what I know to a populace, and I give thanks that I'm in a position to do so. So my aim is to enlighten you so that when I pass on to the next realm, I would like to think and hope that I've left with you a level of consciousness that you can advance and somewhere down the line pass on before you pass on. Okay? So thank you for your patience and for listening. And it is always a pleasure to be here. And do continue not only to have a great day, but a great life. Okay?
WINN is 98.9. 98.9.